Have you ever wondered what truly lies beneath the surface of the sea? They say the ocean keeps its secrets, but some of those secrets are far darker than we could ever imagine. Imagine being isolated on an island, with nothing but the roar of the storm and the eerie glow of a lighthouse. Now picture this. The very light meant to guide and protect is the same light that draws something out of the depths, a creature, a curse, something ancient and vengeful. And you're the keeper of this cursed light. Tonight, you're about to hear a story that will make you question everything you know about lighthouses, the sea, and what happens when those two collide. But be warned, this isn't a tale of salvation. It's a story of how the light you trust can turn into your worst nightmare. So, what will you do when the only thing standing between you and the abyss is the very light that brings doom? Stick around, because this tale will keep you on edge until the very last moment. Let's dive in. A new lighthouse keeper, David, steps off a small boat onto a rocky island in the midst of a violent storm. He is greeted by a handful of locals, faces worn and wary. They warn him of the lighthouse's cursed history. Don't trust the light, lad. It ain't just a beacon. It's a beacon to something else. Best you turn around now. I've heard the stories, but I need this job. It's just superstition. The locals leave quickly, murmuring under their breath as they retreat. David is left alone, the cold wind biting at his skin, and he looks toward the lighthouse in the distance, the beam of light cutting through the storm. David makes his way up to the lighthouse, where the door creaks as he enters. Inside, it's dark and musty, untouched for years. The walls are lined with old photographs and notes, most of which are unreadable. What have I gotten myself into? As he gets the light working, he catches a glimpse of a journal entry, the last one made by the previous keeper, Martin, who disappeared under mysterious circumstances. It reads, "The light calls to them. Do not trust the sea after dark." Days pass, and David settles into his routine. He lights the beacon every night and keeps the journal in the lighthouse. The locals continue to stay away, but David doesn't give much thought to their warnings. He starts to feel the strange weight of isolation, but he tells himself it's just the storm, just the weather. This isn't so bad. It's just a lighthouse, just like any other job. But the silence of the island becomes deafening. The wind whispers secrets through the cracks of the lighthouse, and every night, the beam of light swings across the ocean, illuminating nothing but waves and darkness. One night, while looking through the journal again, David notices something strange. An old photograph, faded and yellowed with age, shows a previous keeper standing at the lighthouse, his eyes wide in fear. The caption beneath reads, "He never saw the light again." David shudders, shaking off the feeling that something isn't right. But the light flickers once more, and in the distance, he thinks he hears something. A faint, unnatural whisper on the wind. As the days pass, the strange occurrences increase. David begins to hear voices, soft whispers, like someone calling his name, carried on the wind. The sounds come from the sea, from the very lighthouse beam itself. One stormy night, as he looks out over the rocks, he sees a dark figure standing at the water's edge. He blinks, and the figure disappears. Confused and frightened, he tries to convince himself it's just the stress. Just my imagination, I need to focus on the work. But the whispers continue. Every night, louder, more insistent. One evening, he ventures out to investigate, following the sound of the whispers. His heart races as he reaches the cliffs, but there's nothing there, just the crashing waves below. He stares at the ocean, the mist thickening around him. Suddenly, the light beam flickers, and for a split second, David sees something in the water, eyes watching him from below. He stumbles back in fear, but the water remains still. He turns to leave, but hears the whispering again, this time louder, more urgent. It's coming for you. The light calls to it. The sea remembers. David runs back to the lighthouse, heart pounding, the sound of his heavy breathing filling the silence. He slams the door shut and locks it, but the whispers don't stop. He presses his ear against the cold stone walls of the lighthouse, listening in the dark. David spends the next few nights obsessing over the journal. He finds more entries from Martin, each one more frantic than the last. In one of the final entries, Martin writes, "The light does not guide, it summons. It calls to something deep in the sea, something ancient and vengeful. We're not meant to be here. We're not meant to disturb the depths." David realizes the true horror. The lighthouse is not just a signal for ships. It's a beacon, a portal, drawing something from the ocean, a malevolent entity that preys on the souls of those who serve it. And he's next. The whispers grow louder, almost deafening. David races to the top of the lighthouse to turn off the light, but as he reaches for the switch, the light flickers one last time and something massive rises from the sea. He gazes in horror as a shadowy form appears in the water, its eyes glowing faintly in the dark. It's a creature, not of this world, and it's coming for him. "No! I was just doing my job. I didn't mean to." The lighthouse beam swings around, illuminating the creature in full view. It's monstrous, with elongated limbs and a gaping mouth. The light flickers again, and the creature vanishes back into the sea. It's too late. Too late for all of us. David falls to his knees, breathing heavily. The whispers fade, but the air is thick with the smell of salt and decay. The lighthouse beam flickers one last time, casting eerie shadows on the walls. David knows he's not alone. As the storm rages on, the final toll of the lighthouse bell rings. David's fate is sealed. He is now part of the lighthouse's curse, forever trapped in the cycle of summoning the dark entity from the sea. The island will claim him, as it has claimed all the keepers before him. I was warned. I didn't listen. Now the light will never go out. The light continues to shine across the sea, drawing in the next victim. As the camera zooms out, the lighthouse stands tall against the stormy sky. The light swings around, but no one is there to turn it off. The whispers return, fading into the wind, leaving the island alone in its cursed silence. What do you think? Was the light truly a beacon of salvation, or was it a curse all along? This story has only scratched the surface of the darkness hiding beneath the waves. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt trapped by a choice, unsure of whether the path you've chosen will lead to salvation or doom? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If this story left you questioning everything, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. And remember, when the light begins to flicker, what do? Do you run, or do you face it head on?